Illegals are allowed to fly without IDs. That was confirmed last week, but citizens have to have a national ID card by 2016 to fly. And Governor Brown aids Obama in the treason, telling the illegals with a foreign leader, come on in. It's our responsibility to take whoever wants to come, and we'll pay for everything. Just vote to take the guns away from the American people. Just turn Texas blue. And George Soros and Warren Buffett and all of them are laughing all the way to the bank. That's coming up with Larry Elder, syndicated talk show host, best-selling author, here in just a moment. First off, this hour is brought to you by MyPatriotSupply.com/Alex to find their best specials. Super high quality, non-GMO, storable foods. Last 20 years, 866-229-0927. I think you're crazy if you don't have storable foods. The establishment wants us dependent on them. We need to be self-sufficient, and a lot of that starts at MyPatriotSupply.com/Alex. And we also need to identify with each other, fellow patriots, libertarians, constitutionalists. There's a reason the establishment Republicans and establishment Democrats are teaming up to give money against the Tea Party and a constitutional rebirth in this country. They've all basically been bought off. It's because they know the real opposition is there. Homeland Security says their main threat isn't Al-Qaeda or ISIS. It's homegrown Tea Party that are going to carry out terrorism. That terrorism happens. Who stands to gain from it? Who might stage it? Who might let people attack us so they can then take our liberties? Bare minimum. We need to understand this game plan and be aware of it. So go to InfoWarsStore.com and get a Molon Labe t-shirt. Get an anti-socialist t-shirt. Get an Obama the Tyrant t-shirt. Get the made in 1776 nickel belt buckles. All of it will help you meet like-minded people and fund Infowars.com and the whole media operation we're building. We're not like MSNBC that gets government stimulus money or NPR that gets $400+ million of taxpayer money and Rockefeller money. We're funded by your free will, getting the high-quality Patriot golf shirts, the Join or Die Patriot shirts, the 1776 ball caps, the camouflage hunting caps. We fund ourselves with high-quality products, hundreds of them, made in America, flags, 1776 pins. All of it are great conversation starters, made in 1776.com or InfoWarsStore.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139. And lastly, every night we have InfoWars Nightly News, 7 o'clock Central. Soon it's going to be on satellite. We already have a lot of stations that download it each night and play it that night or the next day without us even promoting it yet. But for subscribers, it's there. We've got a lot of people using it and watching it, hundreds of thousands every few days. I want to encourage everybody to share your username. 11 friends and family can watch PrisonPlanet.tv, the nightly news, see all my films, online books, so much more at our own platform that can't be censored as easy as YouTube or Facebook or Twitter at PrisonPlanet.tv. $5.95 a month, 11 people can use it simultaneously. You're talking about pennies a day per user. PrisonPlanet.tv. I want to thank all of the members. All right, now, we go to our guest for the balance of the hour, LarryElder.com, and he is a syndicated columnist, a talk show host, best-selling author, broadcasting from KABC and different parts of the country. He joins us. Lately, we've been posting a lot of his articles to Infowars.com from him on MSNBC, CNN, you name it, challenging just the incredible race baiters. I've heard the Klan give speeches. I've gone out and protested them many times, as folks know. You've seen those videos. The stuff I hear coming out of MSNBC and Al Sharpton sounds like the same race baiting you hear out of white supremacists. And it's just so obvious what's going on. But now we have a case with a young white man shot by a black police officer that we're going to be covering a little bit first, then getting into some other issues, where you have a Ferguson-like attack in Utah, escapes media notice, race bias scene. I don't think so. I mean, when a black cop shoots a white guy, I don't think it was racial. We don't know exactly what happened yet, but we're going to get Larry Elder's take on this, because what we know is There haven't been burning buildings. There hasn't been looting. There haven't been racial attacks against blacks by whites everywhere, as we've seen up on Infowars.com. White Marine beaten by black mob in Michael Brown revenge attack. It's happened 3 times the last week in the same town. So what's going on here? Why do the Democrats want to start a race war? Larry Elder, thanks for coming on.
Alex Jones, always a pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. Well, the reason Democrats want black people angry, I don't think they want a race war, but they want black people angry is because black people will then march like lemmings and pull that lever 95% for the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party has convinced black people that Republicans hate them. Republicans are racist. Tea Party is racist. John Boehner is racist. Mitch McConnell's racist. Eric Cantor, the late Eric Cantor, meaning he lost his job, is racist. That's what they do. Debbie Wasserman Schultz said during the 2012 campaign that Republicans are engaging in a war against women, war against blacks, rather. Charlie Rangel, formerly the head of the House Ways and Means Committee, said that Republicans don't say S-word anymore, a slur for Hispanics, or N-word anymore, a slur for blacks. In fact, he actually said the words, Alex. They don't say S or N anymore. They just say, let's cut taxes. In other words, cutting taxes is racist. Everything is racist. And that's the agenda. The agenda is to make sure blacks are pissed off at the world come November the 4th, pull that lever 95%. However, if you're a black guy living in a democratically controlled town, they don't want you to riot, having told you that the racist criminal justice system is oppressing you. So you can't have it both ways, Alex. I'm used to people like Sharpton yelling and screaming and making all sorts of fallacious comments about the criminal justice system. But when Eric Holder and Obama repeat the same nonsense, that the criminal justice system is racist, that blacks are arrested unfairly, they're sentenced longer unfairly, which is what Eric Holder has said in a speech 3 or 4 weeks ago, why wouldn't the people in Ferguson not believe the official version of what happened? Why wouldn't the police and the people in Ferguson go to the streets and attack the criminal justice system? The first black president who's been elected and reelected and his black attorney general have both told black people that the criminal justice system is in fact racist. Why shouldn't they believe it?
Well, just growing up in Texas and growing up in Dallas, I do think that clearly there has been some discrimination and some over-enforcement in the black community. But when MTV, look at Suge Knight getting shot, promotes for 20 years cop-killing music, gangster culture, I don't know how the police tell one real thug from a wannabe. And I see cops roll up on white kids dressed like thugs, or I see cops roll up on rednecks when they're acting in a criminal way. I mean, quite frankly, I've seen police act like this against any subculture that is acting in a thuggish way, and the media pushes a thug life, thug culture. I think the so-called liberal media has more to do with this than anybody else.
I agree. And Alex, you point out something I mentioned on my show the other day. I don't know any of my white friends who has not been spoken to in a way that he or she did not like by a cop. Any of them. However, because you're white, you therefore don't have the convenient excuse that the officer did it because I'm a black person. That's the problem. A lot of black people have been taught whenever something bad happens to you, interpret it the worst possible racial way. This is not your grandfather's America, for crying out loud. In L.A., the average street cop is either a female or a person of color. There were back-to-back black police chiefs here in L.A. During the O.J. Simpson case, Alex, there was a black police chief named Willie Williams. Because of all of the accusations that the officers had planted evidence, he did a top-down departmental review to find out whether anybody had done anything at all incorrect during the O.J. Simpson case. This is during the trial itself. The report came back. The officers were completely clean, no detective, no criminologist, no cop did anything wrong. People didn't care. The ones who thought O.J. Simpson was a victim of a conspiracy continue to believe that O.J. Simpson is a victim of conspiracy. I mention that because this nonsense about what would happen if the police department in Ferguson were more representative of the people in general. Really? Would crime go down? We have a far more racially representative police force in Chicago and in New York. Has crime gone down? No, it has not gone down. And Alex, you mentioned this black officer who shot this unarmed man in Utah, 20 years old, a few days ago. I'll give you an even bigger hypocrisy story. 2006, California. Long Beach, 20 minutes outside of Los Angeles. 3 white girls go to a haunted house party. They are attacked by a mob of 30 or 40 people, beaten savagely. One almost loses her eye. A black Good Samaritan wades in, Alex, saves the day. These mob, maybe 10 or 12 of them, are finally prosecuted, ultimately given a slap on the wrist, given home detention. It took LA Times a week to write about the attack. A week. It took NPR a month to mention it, Alex, and they only mentioned it in the context of whether or not it is true that a black person can, in fact, commit a hate crime because of the racial history of black people in America. That's the only context in which NPR even brought up this beating that took place in Long Beach in 2006. Google it. Nobody gave a rip because the girls were white, the mob was black. You reverse it, it's an international story. They're talking about it in Bangladesh.
Remember the whole lacrosse thing. The media wanted that to be a racial attack.
Not only that, remember the churches burning thing? About 10, 15 years ago, USA Today did a whole bunch of cover stories about black churches being burned because racist arsonists are out there getting them. Turned out not a single black church was burned because of racial animus. More mosques and synagogues have been burned over that same period of time, but nobody gave a rip. And to their credit, USA Today issued a front-page apology, said that they whipped the whole country up into this hysteria for no reason at all. And we're talking about hysteria. About half of the homicides in this country are by and against black people. In Chicago alone last year, there were about 10 homicides a week, mostly black people, and by the way, most of those are unsolved. At least in the case of Ferguson, the family has at least the solace of knowing who did it. There are a whole bunch of parents in Chicago right now, Alex, who don't have any idea who killed their loved ones, and I don't think that the FBI has sent 40 agents there as they did in Ferguson. If Eric Holder has made a comment about what's going on